Let's face it, the majority of people today are living paycheck to paycheck. They can't afford their bills, but just barely get by, largely by use of debt. This is why we have seen home equity being used as a piggy bank, stocks being used as collateral, and a huge disparity in between the very few at the top and everyone else. The globalist elite are skillfully crafting each step of the way. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today we are going to talk about how over 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. We're going to talk about those who might end up kicked off the stimulus. We'll see what happens with that. I'm going to talk about further issues related to how people are struggling today. Then we are going to look at other factors, specifically where billions of dollars was given out improperly from the government. Billions of dollars. I'm going to show you that data directly from the source. I've got some other info in here. There's a lot to cover. Let's get into it right away. Nearly 2/3 of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Money is not something anyone wants to worry about during the holidays. However, it appears that many will be struggling through the most festive part of 2020. A survey finds that over 60% of Americans say that they are now living paycheck to paycheck as the year draws to a close. As I always state, we're looking at a poll. It's 2,000 people. This is giving us a subset of the total. But when we see the same information coming through time and time again, I've seen the numbers at 65%, I've seen them at 67%, I've seen them even higher. It all depends. But look, the majority of people are living paycheck to paycheck. That's all that matters to me. Doesn't matter if it's 60% or it's 63%. Doesn't matter all those little nuances. All I care about is the fact that people right now today are struggling. And that is coming at a time when you have individuals that are on their way to becoming trillionaires. It's crazy to think of these wide disparities that are occurring. Now, at the bottom here, one of the factors I think is important, and it's very real, it's that people have to cut back on their spending. If they don't have enough money for their basic essentials, they're not going to go to the movie theater, they're not going to go to the restaurant. Oh, by the way, they're all shut down. They're not going to go to all these different places and spend with their disposable income because they don't have any. And this, of course, brings the wider economy down. That's my point. When you have a bunch of people that are hurting, no longer are they going out to that restaurant and shopping and buying here and there. So that does have an impact on everybody else. This was a big deal. Take a look. Palpable poverty. Most Americans don't have enough assets to endure 3 months without income. And it wouldn't surprise me to find that we can see even more, let's say, shocking statistics if we really looked into it. But check this one out. An unsettlingly high percentage of Americans are teetering right on the edge of financial disaster. More than 3 in 4, 77% low to moderate income U.S. households have dipped below the asset poverty threshold. Now that is never a good sign because these people, while they might be able to make things happen for themselves today, right now, it's not a good thing if something changes, if they lose a job, if a health crisis comes up, somebody in their family needs them and their finances and needs their time and attention. We've seen it all before. What exactly does this mean? In the event of a job loss or loss of income, these families do not own enough financial assets to stave off a fall below the poverty level status within 3 months. That's how close people are to going off the edge. I talk about this all the time, but everything is all so fine and dandy until it isn't, right? Well, anyway, at the bottom here, they also note something. Researchers compared asset poverty rates among American and Canadian citizens for the study. While Canada has generally done better than the US in this regard lately, the Great White North has had its fair share of issues as well. 62% of low to moderate income Canadians also fall below the asset poverty threshold. Doesn't matter where you look, everybody's doing the same thing. They push everything to the maximum. And at the same time, you have noticed, I know you have, that rents have gone up, that housing prices have gone up, that electricity prices have gone up. Everything is going up, and yet wages, in not even in real terms, in nominal terms, have done that. And don't you think that this is a problem? Of course. Even the richest of the rich, they're financing everything that they do by selling off certain assets. They might see certain assets appreciate, but they have to sell, like those insiders selling shares in order to finance that Lamborghini and that Rolls Royce and that new place they just bought in Aspen. Yes, we get it. But this just shows you how significant it is for, let's say, the bottom 50%, but perhaps even the bottom 80%. I'm not going to get into the depths of this article here, but we're talking about all of the unemployment benefits. There's 20 million people currently receiving them. 9.1 million who are receiving aid from the programs will be cut off on December 26th. We'll see what happens with that. I'm not sure that they're actually going to let this happen. They'll push it, they'll kick it, they'll do whatever they have to do in order to make things just happen for now, not resolve the issues, not resolve the crisis that is actually at hand. They will simply just paper over it temporarily. They'll put a bridge, they'll put a bandage, whatever it's going to take to essentially just kick the can down the road as they always do. ABC News is laying off staffers amid a broader reorganization at parent company Walt Disney, one that impacts a low single-digit percentage news division's 1,400 staffers. This is all part of what we are seeing with all of these different companies. It doesn't matter where you're looking in media, you're looking in retail, in government, we're seeing it everywhere today. The stock market is soaring to new heights, but most Americans aren't along for the ride. If you want to check it out, this article covers the disparity that we are seeing in between the market and the average person, what they are dealing with. It really breaks it down, gives you some examples, gives you the data. If you want to check it out, definitely do so. Now I've got some really interesting stuff coming from Open the Books, a great resource. Since 2004, 20 large federal agencies have admitted to dispersing $2.3 trillion in improper payments. For example, dead people received $872 million in mistaken payments. This is real, this is documented, and I'm glad that we have resources like Open the Books to give us this information, to sift through. I'll definitely want to just give them a shout out where I can. There's a Forbes article that was written about it. It just really makes it easy to read. That's why I'm showing you here, but I will give you the actual report itself. Take a look. Total mistakes, $175 billion in estimated improper payments reported by the 20 largest federal agencies, averaging $14.6 billion per month. All right. Down. We got this. Worst programs, $121 billion in improper payments occurred within 3 program areas: Medicaid, Medicare, and Earned Income Tax Credit. And at the bottom, the clawback, all right? Now you might be thinking, how much of this is actually coming back? Because if it's given out and then it comes back, not a big deal. Look, clawback, only $21 billion of the $175 billion improper payments during 2019 was recaptured. That's only 14 cents on every dollar misspent. How's that for an investment? You put $1 in and you get 14 cents back. I'm not so sure I would want to be putting my money there, but remember, that's your tax dollars. Here are the charts associated with it. You can see improper payments by year from 2004 up until today. And that has actually been increasing yet again, as you can see. I find it interesting that surrounding this crisis time frame now, as well as what we had during 2008 and after, there were more of these payments happening. Of course, you know that there was all sorts of different stimulus programs taking place. The more they give out, the more they're screwing up. the top 10 worst agencies, improper payments. You could see it here on this list: HHS, Treasury, the VA, DOD, and so on. Root causes of improper payments 2015 to 2019: inability to authenticate eligibility, can't access the data. Inability to authenticate eligibility, data needed doesn't exist. Failure to verify death, administrative error. It just goes on. Okay, so you can pause it, you can check this out, or take a look at the link in the description. Look at the report itself though, because this will tell you everything you need to know. It is done with nice graphics and everything, so it's an easy read. All right, it's only about 20 pages, and that will be in the description under the sources. I always give you the source itself here on this channel. Always hold me accountable to give the sources, because I want to do that. All media should do that. Everybody should be sharing the actual source of the information, and make sure that whatever you're given, at least you can go down the rabbit hole and find exactly where it's coming from. If you have a few minutes, you definitely want to check out this article. The franchise relationship that powers small business is fraying. At brands such as Subway and Econo Lodge, owners and store operators once pulled in the same direction, but now increasingly squabble. This is quite a unique one. If anyone's ever looked into a franchise, maybe you own a franchise, there are sort of, it's not understood how this works for a lot of people, but you have to uphold the rules set by those on the top. And you, as the little guy, maybe you own one of these stores here, you have to really listen to what the big guys have to say. And one of the issues that they presented here was that, for example, they had to buy something, I think it was sausages. Well, these sausages here, you have to get them from the exact same source. And it was something like, let's say, $22. Everybody needs the same sausages no matter where you go, because of course you want the same taste. If you go to one place here, you go to one place there, everybody wants to have that same experience. But according to this gentleman who was talking, he was suggesting that, he could buy the same thing for 50% cheaper if he went with another supplier. But that's not okay, because of the way that it's dictated from the top down. It's sort of really making me think of how the government structure works. It's very difficult to operate in this way, because that one individual maybe isn't seeing income right now. Maybe the revenues are down significantly, and that's part of the issues that are taking place today. So the big companies, despite the fact that, it might be a McDonald's or something, that they're huge companies, they've got a lot of money behind them, look who's actually operating the store and the issues that they are dealing with. This is an update on what I had talked about maybe a week or two ago. Argentina's Senate passed a tax on about 12,000 of the country's richest people on Friday to pay for measures including medical supplies and relief for the poor and small business. It looks like they did this. It's a one-off levy, a tax essentially that these people, they've got to pay up. And I don't know exactly what's going to happen in 6 months from now, in 12 months from now. Are you going to tax them again? Are you going to tax them again? It wouldn't surprise me to see a lot of these people simply abandon the country, or at least take their money away. And it just shows you how these countries, they have no options left. Final article: a robot is now making Jamba smoothies in a California Walmart in less than 3 minutes. We have noticed this time and time again, where robots are coming in, they're figuring out how to do it. When it comes to smoothies, this is very easy for them to do, to implement. It talks about it being like a kiosk. You just push a button, all these things happen, you get your smoothie, done. No human interaction whatsoever. And I'm not exactly sure, there's a lot of people that are employed in this type of industry. I'm not sure how much longer they'll be able to be in those positions. That's all for this video. If you found it informative, hit that thumbs up button. When you do, you are supporting me. Thank you very much for being part of the 10%. If you want to learn how to sell stuff online, you're interested in e-commerce, you can learn for free at the AmazonGPS.com. If you want to understand the financial system from top to bottom, A to Z, all the details are located in my 2 books. They fit into each other like lock and key. So definitely check them out at the link in the description. And if you want the audiobook, that is available at themoneygps.com. But hold on a second, don't go anywhere. Have you seen this video? There's so much. It's so important. Definitely check it out. Click it. I'll see you there.